and we're gonna go ahead and get this motor put together. We're gonna finish putting the F20B with K20 pistons together. I've already got 2 rods and pistons in the block right there, as you can tell. And then I got everything else over here laid out perfectly so we can finish this up. We've got the rings. I already filed my rings. I already checked the clearance on the rod bearings. And you're gonna want to make sure that you clean out your block real good. I wipe down the cylinder walls and then, you know, wipe off your crankshaft. Make sure that the journals on the crank are really clean. Get everything cleaned up. You don't want to get your bearings put in like how I got right there. So these are stock rods, and then these are K20 Type R pistons. They're Nippon 600 horsepower pistons, hyper pneumatic. So that's what we're building the motor with today. If you haven't seen the last video where we install the crankshaft on this motor, you're going to want to go back and watch that one first, or it's not going to make much sense to you. But we've already got the crankshaft put in and all the bearings and everything for that. So today we're going to finish and put these pistons in. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, you're going to want to install your piston clip right there. Clip on one side. Next, we're going to lube up the piston pin and the rod with a little bit of assembly lube. So let's do that next. Alright, got the rod on. We want to put the intake facing that way. And then the little tang for the bearing right here. That needs to be facing this way, opposite of the intake marking on the top of the piston. So get that put together. Now I'm gonna install the rings. You get 2 of these small ones and one of these little ziggy-zaggy ones. These are the oil rings. They go on the very bottom groove of the piston. And then you've got your 2 compression rings. Those go on the first and second groove of the piston. So let's go ahead and get those installed, and then we'll put one more bearing in the rod cap, or in the rod right there, and then we're going to go ahead and get the piston inside of the ring compressor. All right, I'm sure that half of you guys already know this and the other half probably doesn't. So when you put piston rings on a 4-stroke engine, they have to go in a certain spot. On a 2-stroke, there's pins on the piston, so you really normally can't put them in the wrong spot. But there's your first one, which is the ziggy-zaggy one right there, the little wavy ring in the middle, on the bottom. That one goes very middle, like right in the middle right here, where it comes together. So the ring comes together right here, and then the other 2 small rings that go on the top and the bottom of that go on the opposite side. The bottom one goes there. There's the gap. I'm talking about the gap. See the gap between the ring? So the gap goes here, and then on the top one, it's opposite right there on top. Then the next one up is your second compression ring, goes 180 back over here. And then your first compression ring goes back 180, and it's right here. And that is opposite of the center line of your piston pin. Every engine sometimes has a different layout, but I've come to find that this general way works every time I've ever built a motor. So pretty simple, just back and forth, back and forth. And the reason for that is because if you put them all lined up, the rings wouldn't do their job because the air would just blow straight down right. Okay, so for some reason the camera didn't record, but piston is in there. All right, so after a few speed bumps in the road, I put this piston in backwards because I was on the phone with my cousin, and then the rod on this piston did not have enough off of each side, so it was rubbing on the piston and not able to articulate properly on the piston pin. So that's very important. If you did not take enough off of each side, then the piston won't be able to move around inside of the piston. The rod won't be able to. So make sure that you guys check that when you put it together, that you move the rod around and make sure that it moves freely. And you're also going to need a little bit of clearance between the two sides. So if it fits super tight and still moves, you're going to have a problem when the motor warms up. So you need to have a little bit of clearance on the side of the rod, between the rod and the piston. So I'm gonna get this for you guys real quick since I missed the last one. So it's pretty simple here. You just see if I can get this on video. So you tap this guy down right here, and then make sure she's lined up. It's that simple. And now we have 4 pistons in. And then we're gonna line up the rod with the crankshaft, and then we're gonna get the rod cap put on next. God, she's so beautiful. I love building these motors.
Alright guys, so I lost some video of me putting the head on, so basically what I'm explaining here is I got this is a factory H22 oil cooler, and I have this nipple that you have to install into the block. So I installed that and then installed the oil cooler. Next I got to install this crossover pipe right there. That's for that little hose goes to that crossover pipe. So I have the head on, and I had that neoprene gasket. Right here I got the head all bolted on, intakes on, injectors are on. Most everything is on for the timing belt and all that. That keyway was giving me a little bit of trouble, and but I got all that on. Everything's timed. So next is I'm gonna put the timing belt and get everything timed up.
Over here putting the 1-inch tray and pickup tube on. Just missing a bolt down there and a bolt over there. Gotta find them. Got misplaced somehow. Getting her done, boys. That's so weird because earlier, oh yeah, it's still there. Anyways, got the CRX over here inside. Went and picked up a bunch of parts that we're gonna need. One thing that's slowing me down is that I was not expecting the pilot bearing to be bad, and I totally didn't realize that. So I don't have a pilot bearing, so I was trying to get the motor dropped in tonight, but it looks like I might end up getting it dropped in tomorrow morning. So I guess I can just keep on going, getting everything, you know, I'm gonna probably get the wire harness laid in here, get this all cleaned up so I can figure out where the harness is gonna lay and all that. And then that way, you know, just don't waste any time. But went and picked up the turbo. This is the turbo and manifold that we had on the Integra when it was H to B. So this thing in a full weight Integra went 11.7 at 120 in the quarter mile. So I'm pretty sure that same tune-up in this car we'll be running at least 1090s all day. Slide that bad girl in there real quick. Thanks, buddy. Line those little dowel pins up and push on the rest of the way. Just tighten up the last couple bolts and then we're done. Here we go. Got a rear main seal. Now I found the other 2 bolts. They're right here. Well, it's not the. Well, maybe it is the other 2 bolts actually. Yeah, it looks like them because they're both shiny. So that's the only. Well, that could be one of them too. Anyways, found the bolts. So now we can put those in. Alright, got the inside cleaned out. Stacking it up real quick and took everything out, so get a nice start on everything right here.